I was giving it some thought.
Yeah, I think there's reasons to be optimistic about America. I mean, I love America.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, yes.
No.
Yes, I feel that there are plenty of reasons to be optimistic.
I would say yes and no. I don't really like the track that America's going on right now. I mean, honestly.
I think in some ways, yes.
Yes, I absolutely believe there is a reason to be optimistic about America right now.
I think that in any country that you're in, you should be optimistic about just life in general.
So on behalf of being optimistic about America,
I mean, I think so. What's the other choice? Pessimistic about it?
Sometimes.
Yeah, it kind of depends.
For 90% of people, probably no.
And, at the current rate of things right now, I mean, it's just rather difficult to say as to whether or not there is really any real reason to feel optimistic about America right now. I mean,
And then for 10% of people, yes.
yeah, I say it has its perks. I don't know. There's a lot of
Optimism about America right now is a little bit hard because we've got the Ukraine going on with Russia.
human rights right now are constant struggles.
a lot of differences, a lot of cultural differences.
I think actually, I got to study. I found a Time magazine cover article. It's called "The Jesus Revolution" back in 1971, and I feel like at a very similar time in American history, there was like a spiritual awakening. So I'm optimistic about the country for sure. I think
There's lots of issues in the world, and in America, but I think people are trying to make changes.
And I know I live here, so I like to keep hope that, it's going to get better for the most part.
Yeah, and it seems like the COVID-19 crisis has averted,
We've got China that's about to just implode on itself.
and now they have the monkeypox crisis coming up, so
A lot of things that divide people, separate people.
They all have nuclear threats that go with them, which is kind of scary for us.
To have everybody on equal ground.
that might be something to think about.
And there's so many people that are, just doing poorly in their lives because their jobs don't want to pay them well.
But other than that, without that going on, it seems inflation's high.
The abortion rights are something to think about.
They don't want to give them health care.
Price of gas is up and food's up.
The Roe versus Wade, that stood up in Kansas, and it's illegal in Indiana and Ohio.
But other than that, life's pretty good.
spiritually, I'm optimistic, and I just still believe it's a great country. Even if we have a particular set of problems these days.
On behalf of being optimistic, I'd say yeah.
I think in America that you have to be optimistic too.
I can't necessarily give like any good
But all the other states are able to keep the women's rights intact. So I think that is a reason to be optimistic about being a woman here in America today. I'd say yes because of how Gen Z is acting right now, just with everything in general.
Because people are fighting for what they believe in.
I'd say having our rights in America is definitely a pro. How they're putting down some of the millennials and like the boomers and stuff like that.
And with a lot of the upheaval right now, that there's going to be some good come out of that.
They're putting down all of those old like traditional things and opening up new things. Just depends on what's going on during the day. Like with trans rights, gay rights.
So I think optimism is a good thing to have, and I think we should have it because we're very privileged here.
All of that kind of stuff.
I would agree with that answer, especially because we're seeing a bunch of different people and minorities finally taking a stance to feel equal in this country.
Everybody's really open about everything now. Like nobody's ashamed to go anywhere.
I would say there are certain reasons, but overall, no.
So, I mean, it's just really difficult to feel optimistic in the current state of affairs.
There's a lot of drama and government issues that are going on right now that are not very helpful to any of us citizens at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I just want to elaborate on it a little bit more because, like, what I feel like, if you talk about like just America the whole, there's a lot more than just what's going on with like the justice system or with women's rights and things like that. It's just
Like, look at all these people here. Nobody's ashamed anymore.
at the time right now, a lot of people are being united amongst like a single issue that this necessarily we didn't have that type of unity before. Whether it's like women rights, the pandemics that's happening, police brutality, whatever the case may be, you see a lot more people coming together to try to get through certain social issues.
We've got people helping everywhere. I think everybody's more kind nowadays.
And if you're not, then there's not really any way, if you feel like it's going negatively or going good.
Overall, no. Like, we're trending in the wrong direction. But there are certain reasons here and there where I feel like we should be optimistic.
So, yeah, I think I'm very optimistic about it.
Yeah, as families and as groups, right? And as communities. Black Lives Matter. That's a big movement. So, yeah. So, the COVID crisis caused us to spend more time with our loved ones and significant others at home instead of being at work all the time. So, yeah, it's made families closer.
And I think it's just going to get better from there on.
If you're not optimistic, then there's no way to like help the future. If you're not optimistic about making change.
I would preface it with the fact that we have to make our own optimism sometimes.
So kind of a mixture is how I see it.
Yeah.
I think that's that'll sum it up, yeah.
Okay. You agree? Well, I agree. Next question, Bob. I mean.